Welcome to ATB-TV. I'm Darren Dance here with Peter Morgandy down at the Warrnambool Racecourse on probably the first day we've seen for a number of weeks with the sun out, Pete. It's actually quite nice standing here.
Shelter the eyes, Darren. It's actually beautiful on the back, so yeah.
No luck at Warrnambool today, but we'll get to that later on.
No.
Let's just kick through last week's runners, Pete. Where do we go?
We go back to last weekend where we had 4 runners, 4 different states, no luck. We'll start with Rockalicious because she probably was the best runner of the 4 of them.
Yeah, she was first up for Darren Weir at Caulfield, and we knew she drew wide. She was going to need a lot of luck, and I thought Brad rode her particularly well. She had to come wide on the corner, and she had cover, and then she peeled out, and she ran on good down the straight to just get beaten 1.5 lengths in the end, probably running the fastest 600, 400 and 200. Yep. And she looks like she's in for a good prep when she gets out to a right distance.
Yeah, for sure. It just shows you what a bad barrier and a good barrier can do in terms of finishing.
Exactly.
Where you finish in the race. But she was terrific. Lucky on barefoot was at Morfordville. Just the race, well, I don't know whether we got the race ran how we wanted in terms of where he was meant to be in the run. But
well, I think you're probably going to find we're going to have a little bit of jockey criticism up for the rest of the Saturday, Pete. We copped a few orderly ones, and unfortunately Lucky was one of them where the jock was told to be in behind the leader, and they walked and she was too far back, and then they sprinted and he was left flat-footed and was disappointing. But anyway, we're going to leave the horse over there, probably change the rider, thinking about getting him out to 2,000. But my feeling is Lucky on barefoot's probably seen the best of his racing days, and maybe his next run, maybe his retirement run, but we'll just see how he goes. Yeah.
The last 2 jocks have suggested to try the 2, so ideal time to try it. Red Handle, Doomben, finished 4th.
Look, it was a good run, all things considered. Just once again, we, from the wide gate, they instructed the rider to sort of go forward. Unfortunately, he sort of got in a position where he got caught 3 wide for 500 metres. And he just was a little bit indecisive whether to go forward or go back, and he sat out there on the limb, and that just left her very vulnerable late, and she got run down and battled away to run 4th. Jim Byrne was good enough to admit that he got it wrong, and she'll go around in a couple of weeks at Eagle Farm, and I think she'll be a much better filly at Eagle Farm, where hopefully she can get the sit sprint, because Doomben, I think sometimes on these tracks you tend to ride the horse for the track rather than ride the horse the way it needs to be ridden. And I think we just felt a little bit let down by Jim because he probably should have kicked up and sat outside the leader.
Which got all the favours in front.
It's probably easy for us to, say that in hindsight, but we're not the ones sitting on their back making decisions at the time. But anyway, it's probably just got to wait for a fortnight.
Yep. We're sure Rose Hill finished 7th or 8th, beaten 3 lengths. But
once again, situation here where the horse is not the easiest horse to ride. He needs to be really quietly ridden out of the gates. He's got to be back. He's got to get to the outside and let down. And unfortunately, Karen McAvoy gave him a little dig out of the gates, and that got him fired up. His midfield pulling, and then of course, because he's in the pack pulling, he looked to get to the outside. There was no gap there, so he had to go back inside, and he was done and dusted. And it was disappointing. But as discussed with Peter Snowden, just need to keep the same rider on this horse. He's had 5 riders for his last 5 starts. He's a tricky horse to ride, so we need some consistency on jock so that they can get to know the horse and we can get the results. But I mean, he's a good horse. He's won 3 races from about 10 starts, but we just need to get some consistency and get the horse ridden the way it needs to be ridden.
Yep, for sure. Sunday you went to Pakenham. We had Artie Sano kick off his career, and he probably tasted a lot of the Pakenham synthetic track. Yeah,
look, he's a New Zealand staying horse, first up over 1400. Brad Ruler rode him. He couldn't really go early, or wouldn't go early with all the kickback that was there, and he was disappointing on face value. But look, he was very green and new, and Brad come back, he was pretty much blinded by all the kickback, and there was a lot of talk on RSN during the week about how bad the kickback was at Pakenham. I think the lesson there is some of these big staying horses, you just got to keep them away from those sort of tracks, particularly when you want to give them a good day out first day, not a bad day out. He probably swallowed half a tonne of synthetic. Anyway, look, he's pulled up good, which is a good thing. And we just got to get him back onto a turf track, hopefully at Bendigo in a couple of weeks over 14.
Be ideal.
And hopefully we'll see him race the way he's trialled, because we do have a bit of an opinion of this horse. And it's just disappointing to take him somewhere first up and sort of walk away not really seeing what the trainer's seen in work. So it's just this synthetic. It's good for racing, but it's also bad if you get the wrong sort of horses on it. And I think this year we've probably fallen for that a couple of times, and we just need to get smarter.
Tuesday, I was at the trials at the uphill track at Ballarat. You went to Warrnambool, another 3 or 4 hour trip for you. We'll start with the winner first, Licorice Bullet.
Well, I had a nice drive up there, Pete, 3 hours each way. Yeah. Had a blowout on the way, so I'd done a tyre. And then we had Schwarzens in race 4 and had a 3 hour gap to the other two, and I went out in the car and had a flat battery. So I had to go down the street and get a new battery. I had to get someone to come and get me. Thank God that horse won, because I would have been filthy on a 6 hour drive with a blown tyre and a flat battery. But anyway.
She was terrific then, really good.
Well, you know, Dean was in form. For those that don't know, Dean Yendall rode at Darwin on Monday, had a book of rides, caught the 2 a.m. back to Melbourne, drove to Horsham, unpacked, then drove to Warrnambool, had no sleep at all, and rode 4 winners, including Licorice Bullet in the last. He was a man possessed. He sat wide. Yep. Well, she was burnt off for speed. She was last, 14 off the lead. Come around the corner 6 wide, and she went wacko down the straight one by a length and a half.
Sitting up on her.
Sign of a good filly. And we knew she was a good filly first prep, but she just couldn't keep no weight on her. Typical of the long road fillies, and gave her a good break, brought her back, and now she looks good, and she's gone well first up.
Yeah, terrific.
So congratulations to all the owners, Licorice Bullet. It was our first winner for the new season, and it was good to get that underway.
We can talk the other two as a combination, Schwarzens and Chloeanna.
Yeah, well, they were both there on their final go. Schwarzens were just trying over 2,000, but she was ordinary and probably didn't handle the wet. Ran out the 2,000 okay, but she'll be going. She'll be getting sold as a broodmare, so you won't see her run again. And Chloeanna was there really racing for her future. She ran 5th, maybe just got on the wrong part of the track in the straight, but yeah, look, she needs to go and be a mum somewhere. She's had a good career. She's a city winner. She won about 80 grand, but she's just lost the zest for racing, and it's the breeding season now, and I'm sure we'll be able to get a place somewhere, you know, in the future to go off to stud.
Yep, for sure. The next day we had the last Angel at Murray Bridge, and we've discussed since. We found out she may not like the heavy tracks, Darren.
Well, we're hoping that's the case. The 3 runs in South Australia have been pretty ordinary, and got her out to 1400. She certainly looked a treat, and pulled up good, but she loomed up on the corner like she was going to run into it, and then just spun a wheel. So I think we've formed the opinion now that maybe, even though she's by God's own, they all love the wet, that she doesn't. So I think she's in a Strath next week, and also Port Augusta, where they run on the synthetic. So we need to get her onto a firmer surface just to see, 1, whether that's the answer, or 2, she's just not going any good and needs to be retired. So jury out, but we're suspecting she just doesn't like it wet. Yep,
for sure. As we stand here now and we're listening to the last race at Warrnambool behind us, we've had 2 go around. We had Himagee Joe earlier, and I thought she was good.
Yeah, she was good. We thought she'd need this. 3rd start in her life, and she's run 5th, beaten about 5, but gee, she tried hard, Pete. She got her head down and low and really hit the line, but as Darren said today, she's probably looking for a mile, so maybe next start, blinkers and a mile, it'll be her turn. But each run she's got better, without figuring, but next start, and I still think she's a prep away. She looked light and that in the yard to me, but if we can get a win with the next start, I'd reckon we should turn her out and bring her back. She'll be a nice filly next time in.
No, for sure. And we also had Reigning Meteor, and he just found one of his old nemesis in Red Casino, just a bit strong, beaten probably 3/4.
Well, how good's Red Casino going? He beat Short Espresso the other day at Casterton, and he's beaten Reigning Meteor today.
Bit of an ATB nemesis,
he is. We've got to attack that horse. I'd love to own that old horse. Gee, he's game. He carries big weight. He gets out in front. He takes the pressure, and he hits the line strong. And yeah, good on him for Red Casino. He's a great old horse. Our horse, he was brave. I thought Dean gave him the run of the race. He ran on to 2nd. He only got beat a length. But Red Casino got out into that fast lane, and we couldn't get there. We would have had to go around, and we would have got beat 3 lengths.
Smart ride from the young girl.
Yeah, Chelsea horse, she's riding super. And I think Dean's riding super, and just got one better than us today. And I'll tell you what, the last 50 of that horse, the way he reeled that horse in, he does look like he's looking for 1200.
Yeah, that's right.
But he's consistent, and he's picked up probably about 22,000 in the last 3 weeks. So he's certainly more than paying his way, and there's a win there for him not far away.
Look for a similar race next fortnight.
So he was going to get sold at the August sales, Pete, so I think we'll be pulling him out of there.
Yep, very good. That's it. That's our runners. So we had a winner, a couple of nice runs. So
we
nice.
ended up the season on 50,
yeah.
exactly 50 winners.
Yep.
And
2.3 or 4 million. Where's all that gone? 2.34 million or something?
2.3 million in earnings.
In earnings.
Jeez, that's a lot of money. That means the trainers won about 230 grand off our horses. And the jockeys won about 150.
Half of that. And the rest just,
we got the scraps.
The rest has gone into
But I think it was a fair season. I think the numbers were down, but how many city winners was amongst
15,
that?
I think, and that's a really good stat.
I think that's our personal best. I don't think we've had 15 city winners in a season before, so whilst we won less maidens in the country and a lot of our older horses have been retired, we've won more city races. We've won a couple of Group 2s.
And a Group 3.
And a Group 3. And
3 or 4 stakes placed. So.
Yeah, so it was good from that perspective. So many young horses just learning their craft that hopefully in the next 12 months they can be part of that 50 or 60 that we aim for. But certainly a lot to look forward to. And, you know, I always say when you're managing horses, your team of horses, it's almost like coaching an AFL footy side or any footy side. You've got your proven performers that are your keepers and you want to hang on them and nurse them as long as you can. Then you've got your young kids that you need to try to see if they're going to be any good or not. And then you just got those middle of the range horses and players that play their way, they get their X number of kicks, they win their number of races, and you just got to be looking for the new blood all the time.
For sure.
I can see a lot of similarities in this game, and you just got, you know, we all want to race, we all want to win. But there comes a use-by date on the horses, and that's when it's tough.
And we've probably seen quite a few this year.
Yeah, well, we got 30 coming in the front gate each year. We've got to have 30 going out the back gate, or we won't have enough paddocks.
Or enough trainers.
Or trainers. But no, it's been a good, fair year, and hopefully, you know, we're looking forward to the spring. I think a lot of the David Hayes horses are about to hit the mark and hit the racetrack. With Wirry, I think it will be a little bit quiet early in the spring, but we should come good late in the spring.
I can see the summer being pretty active.
And we've got a lot of New Zealand blood there that are going to be a little way away, and you know, there's a few surprise packets there.
Just with that year, we'll be making some announcements later on.
Owner of the year,
Owner of the year, and horse of the year.
Horse of the year awards will be announced.
And I think safely, Dean rode about 15 winners as our
main jock.
Had a Brad and a few others, so Dino's been
big part of ATB.
Terrific for us. Move to Flemington, where we've got 2 in the 1 race. We've got Falago, who is coming off 3 weeks. A bit of a temperature and a flu, and he actually is coming back in trip to 1700 up against Tayo, who's first up for about 8 months.
I'm sure Neville's pretty happy that you got the pronunciation right on Tayo. Look, both horses are going to need the run. As you said, Flago had a bit of a bug and he missed some work back to 1700. And Tayo, first up for a long time. We've gave him a good break and we've set him up good, and he takes a couple of runs before he's any good. So we'll just be watching both those horses go around.
Yendalum Falago and Brad Rewiller on Tayo. The next day, Sunday, Echuca, we've got My Obsession, who hopefully we can get a run for. I think it's 2 times she's been in to run. And the meetings have been called off. Yeah,
well, she's unlucky. She's a wet track and we can't get her on a wet track.
They do wet.
Oh, my God. So that'll be another 3-hour drive for me on Sunday, won't it, to Echuca?
Dino up there at Echuca.
Yeah, I'll be going. So, I don't know. Can she win?
Look,
she's been flying, I know that.
Darren's had a few options with her, and the fact he's going to this race, I think not that he's given her the easy option, but I think he just likes the fact that he'll kick her off in that grade. And whatever she does from there, she's going to improve leaps and bounds.
She's a very honest man when she's right, and I think she's going good.
Yep. That's it as far as we know for runners. I think we're going to, we've got written here the Swan Hill, Geelong and Sandown, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We've got nothing.
We've got nothing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
No. But we have trials next Thursday at Burren Beat. We may have a stable full going around there.
Okay.
Likes of Cullinan again, Equieto, Dasher Maple, Penthouse Playboy, I heard mentioned, Maple's Image. So there could be at least half a dozen. And we've got a few that are a little bit further behind that they may get there just for a soft trial. Likes of Rain Cheval, maybe I don't know, Stringer Bell and Zoomstay, Dan Silius or Ransom Money, but Darren doesn't mind taking them to the day out.
Good to give them a day out.
And a bit of a bowl around in trials together. So we could have 10 or 12 to talk about there from a trial perspective, and the following weekend we'll have runners, but that's going to be next week's ATB-TV.
Oh, well, I guess we're going to be busy with 3 runners on the weekend. We're going to get a little bit of a break because we're not far off having our first foal born. So we've got about 20 foals due this year, Pete, and the first one's more bubbly. Is due on the 21st of August. I've got a feeling Mrs. Kravitz might just pip her on the line because Mrs. Kravitz got a fairly big udder at the moment.
Right.
I was pretty pleased to get her up to Scone today.
Yep.
She'll be foaling there and then going to Eurozone. So a lot of mares about to foal and have been shipped all over the country as we move right into the breeding season.
Yep.
And we look forward to Sunday week going down to see Dandino at the open day.
That's right.
You going to make the trip?
That's a trip to Mornington. We might have to have a stopover.
You don't know. You've never been there, have you?
Where's Mornington?
Yeah.
Just a question. Here's a question. I'll ask you a question on the breeding side of it. A mare, well, more bubbly, for instance, or Mrs. Kravitz, because you mentioned she goes to Eurozone. She foals. How long before then she's back in foal?
21 days before they get covered, typically. So the gestation period's 340 days.
Yep.
And then they normally take about 3 weeks before you get them back in foal. We don't serve on the foal heat.
Yep.
So, yeah, typically they're not pregnant for 3 weeks of their life. They're just ovens, really. So, look, that's assuming they go in.
Yeah.
Most of them do this day with the technology. So.
And in a cycle, would you give them a year off every 3 or 4 years, or just depends?
No, what happens is you keep them in foal because it's better to keep them in foal because when they have a year off, it's harder to get them back in foal.
Right.
So it's and it's a production line and it's a commercial business. So we need to they're costing money to stand in the paddock. So you're better off to have them in foal and getting something for them because enough can go wrong. Foals can die. They can be breached. Twisted umbilical cords, a lot of things can happen. They look, 95% of them are assisted birthings, and they all foal during the night, usually between 11 and 4 a.m. So we have alarms on them, and when they lay down, we jump out of bed and run. We have a girl on foal watch, so she goes on the night shift starting the week after next, and we'll foal probably 15 down at home. The rest will go up to Scone. So it gets full on, but. Those mares, they foal down and, the first 48 hours is crucial with the foal. You're doing, taking blood out of them and you're putting it through what's called a snap test to make sure it clots within so much time to make sure they've got enough, that in their blood that they're not going to be subject to viruses. And then they've got to be drinking and, the maiden mothers are, when they're in labour, they think they're dying. They don't know what's happening. And sometimes they're scared of their foal and they won't let them drink, so there's a lot to it. The old mares, they're fine, they foal down and go back in foal, but we've got a few maidens this year that's going to keep us awake most of the nights, I'm sure. But it's a great thing to do, and to breed your own and race them, it's a great thing to do. Just remind me of that in the middle of October that I said that.
Well, it's exciting when you see results.
Basically from the 20th of August, we'll be on foal watch till probably late November. And then that'll be completed, and we'll have all the foals out, and we'll have all the mares going back into foal that are going back into foal. Some of that are foaling late, they'll have the year off, and we'll have to wait till next season because they'll be too late to cover. We don't like covering them any time after the 1st of December because the foal, 340 days, it makes it a late foal the following year. So we like to give them a year off if they're late. And generally what happens is you'll get the odd mare that she won't go straight back into foal, so you miss the cycle, wait another 3 weeks, so you lose a month, and then over 4 or 5 years, most mares will get a year off.
Well, very exciting times. Of course, with the breeding side of it, we've got Dandino's going to come into the equation from the other side of it.
Yeah, well, we've got about 6 mares going to Dandino this season, and, Shiny Lass, and some of the mares we brought up at the Gold Coast, Sava Bay, Mumbai, quite a few of our mares will be going to Dandino to see if we can breed little Dandinos.
Yeah, it'd be great.
And we're looking forward to the open day Sunday week to go down and have a look at him. He's been very well supported. If anyone wants to get involved in a mare to go to Dandino, just give me a call. We do have some options there for you, and it won't cost a lot of money.
No, very good. We're going to get swamped here because they're leaving the
races are over.
course.
So until next week, I'm Darren Dancy with Peter Morganti. Have a great week.